CCE version 2.1 introduced support for Operations Management Suite, which is a set of cloud-based management services used to manage on-premise and cloud-based resources. It's based entirely in Azure, so benefits from cloud scale, and as we'll see, now it also provides a simple to configure platform to monitor remote CCE services. In this video, I'm going to use OMS to collect CCE event log and Perfmon data, and also create an event in the system that will alert upon the failure of the mediation server service. The specific part of OMS that we need to configure for CCE monitoring is log analytics. So for my demo, to get started from the Azure portal, I'll search for the log analytics service and create a new OMS workspace. I'm then prompted to provide a workspace name, link it to an Azure subscription, provide resource group details and allocate the workspace to an Azure region. I'll pin the workspace to the dashboard and press OK to create it. To configure CCE in OMS, I'll need my workspace ID and key. To access these, I'll need to navigate to the OMS portal, and the ID and key can be found in the Windows Servers section under Connected Sources. I am now ready to configure my CCE, which is actually remarkably easy. All I need to do is to open my Cloud Connector.ini file and under the common parameters set OMS enabled equals true. My Cloud Connector.ini file didn't have this parameter defined, so I simply created it at the end of the common parameters section and saved the file. Then I navigate to PowerShell and enter two commands. The first command simply imports the Cloud Connector.ini configuration into the CCE appliance host. This feature was released in CCE version 2.0. The second command installs the OMS agent on the 4 CCE virtual machines and the host machine. As part of the process, I need to add my workspace ID from OMS and also the key. One point to note is that each machine will need internet access for the OMS agent connection to function. I have included the full install in the video to provide a working reference. Once the install has completed, the CCE is ready to be monitored via OMS. The next step is to set up event log capture in the OMS portal. The two that are recommended in the documentation are the application and link server logs. The link server entry is not one of the default options and needs to be manually defined. Then I add the Perfmon counters I want to capture. The system provides some defaults that I'll select. I can then add specific CCE counters as shown. In the example, I've only added inbound and outbound calls for the CCE's mediation server, but in a production system, you will definitely want to collect additional performance metrics. One of the main benefits of monitoring our CCEs from OMS is the ability to configure alerts based upon received events. In my demonstration video, I'm going to configure two alerts, which are triggered when the mediation service stops running and when it starts up again. At the heart of an alert is an OMS query, which is used to identify a received event. After I've created my query, I can pass it for errors and then move on to define the alert configuration. The main configuration decisions I need to make relate to the time window and the desired action. In my example, I will define a 5-minute window, which is the smallest configurable period, and I've chosen to fire out an email to a couple of admins. The final thing I do is save the alert. To create the reciprocal alert, I have to validate the appropriate query and then go on to add the associated alert rule in the same way I did previously. Again, I take the time window down to 5 minutes. And I add the same email details as I did previously. The last thing I do is save the alert. To simulate a failure, I simply navigate to the Services panel on my CCES mediation server and stop the mediation server service. Then, after a short period of time, I'll restart it. To verify whether I've received the relevant events, I can manually query the data held for my CCEs in OMS. As we can see, the simulated mediation server issue and recovery has been captured. The easiest way to check out if the alert has triggered is to navigate to one of the recipient email accounts defined in the configuration and see if the notification has been received. When I check Outlook, I can see that it has. The final thing I'll take a look at is whether my CCE's performance monitor counters are being collected. To do this, I'll just use another simple OMS query. Excellent, my defined counters are now available from a centralized cloud repository. So, to sum things up, we've seen that it's very straightforward to update a CCE's configuration to start to log management data with Azure's OMS tool. As a minimum, we should capture both event log and Perfmon data. I also used a failure event to trigger an alert that sent email notifications to configured systems administrators.